So welcome, everyone. My name is Tricia Gordon, and I will be moderating this session today on what do you expect from a Sakai grading tool. Before we begin, I'll just go over a few housekeeping items. This session is being recorded, and you'll receive an email announcement once the recordings are available. The session is intended to allow open discussion among all of our attendees today. If you have any questions or comments throughout the session, please type them into the chat area over on, probably on your right side of the screen. And if you have a microphone and you've enabled it, feel free to come on the mic and ask your questions or make comments aloud. But if you are not actively speaking, we do ask that you mute your microphone to avoid extraneous background noise. So, Mariano, are you back with us in a new browser?
Yes, I am. So
okay, great. I am going to
give me presenter because I sorry, because I changed my. Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. So we have Mariano Gonzalez with us from the Universidad de Murcia.
Yep.
And Mariano, let's see, are the other presenters on the call? I see Kyle Blythe, who is from New York University.
Yep.
But,
Yep. Hi, everyone. This is Kyle Blythe.
Are there... Ooh, I'm getting background. Not sure why.
Yeah, we got a little bit of background noise. So I'm ready to start. If can anyone see my screen? Everyone?
We can't see him yet.
This is Fred. I'm just going to pause the recording for a moment.
So just a quick note, everyone. So I'm sorry. So Jeff Pash is supposed to be joining this call as well, but he's in Shanghai currently, and he's having some trouble getting on, so he might not be able to make it. But I'll be happy to answer any questions regarding Gradebook NG.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yep. So I think we can get started if everyone can see my screen. I'll do just a quick update. I don't think that it will take me more than 5 minutes because the most important thing is that we start some kind of discussion over here, and that's why we're all here. So, okay, so here, welcome everyone. Thanks for attending the meeting. This is a Birds of a Feather discussion, and we want to somehow start a discussion about, what people, what higher ed institution expect from we say here a Sakai grading tool, but it could be any LMS tool. So here we will be somehow covering functionalities from Gradebook 2, and Gradebook NG. They're all mixed together, and I don't know if everyone have had the opportunity to go a little bit through the Confluence page, but we can surely go through it in a few moments. So thanks for being here, and thanks Tricia for helping us, and Fred and everyone. So yeah, so here is the website that I was talking about, the link that links to the Confluence page, where we are trying to keep up to date everything that we are doing. All of this discussion started because we had an internal discussion within the University of Murcia, and then we somehow tried to make that discussion available for the whole community. The University of Murcia has been using Gradebook 2 since we moved to Sakai. So for 5 years, we've been having Gradebook 2, and it's massively used. We don't deploy Gradebook 1. So the main reason why we choose Gradebook 2 back in that time was for 2 reasons. First one was that it was more attractive, and the second one was that we had no idea that it was a country tool. We just thought that it was a Sakai tool, so yeah. So let me go back here for a second. That's the website. I'm going to copy it because I have to. Okay, I'll do it later. Yeah. So why do we want to leave Gradebook 2? Well, for these main reasons. It's a country tool. It's not being maintained by anyone. It was started by UC Davis, and we have a development team within our university, and we've been fixing some things. And we noticed for the last few months that we were writing emails and we were not getting any answers. So we somehow feel like the project, at least, is not moving forward from their side. But we know that there is a small part of the community that are using Gradebook 2, especially those that were clients of Asahi or now Scriba, because we know that they were deploying Gradebook 2. It's not responsive. There are some functionalities that we like and some others that we don't like. So our plan is to try to migrate to Gradebook Engine as soon as possible. But as I said, it's really complicated thing because there are some things that we will need that are not in Gradebook Engine, and there are some other things that we are not looking for right now, and they will come with Gradebook Engine. Also, because there is no point to migrate to Gradebook 1, because Gradebook Engine will be way better than Gradebook 1 in terms of has some new functionality. It's responsive, and it also had a great UI and really close to Gradebook 2 and so on. So for those reasons. Here we have a couple of things that are killing us with Gradebook 2, and I think this is somehow to start the discussion that we wanted to bring to the table. So these are some requirements that we've been asked in our institution for a really long time. Until now, we've not been able to develop them ourselves. We have sent multiple messages to Sakai list, and we haven't got any answer from, some answers. That's why we identified that there were some institutions that might share some needs with us, right? So that's why we wanted to start this discussion. One is section aware. We have a huge problem with that. We could discuss that later. This is just an introduction. And then also possibility to have a minimum score on some gradebook item to be able to pass the course. Like, for example, having a final exam that is, let's say, I don't know, 40 or some percentage that some people will be able to, if you do the sum of all the grades, they will be able to pass the course without needing to pass that exam. So we've been asked multiple times from instructors to have that option, that somehow you say, okay, it's like a conditional release kind of thing. If you don't get more than 4 points in this exam, no matter how much, how many points you get from the overall course, you won't have a pass. You will be failed, right? So that's one of the main requirements. So how we started all of this? We created we somehow did the buff with the whole community, and it was good. We had the participation. I will go back right here for a second. We had the participation of people from Texas State University, New York University, Scriba, Tufts University, Lonside, people from Flying Kite, University of Notre Dame, and we were really grateful that we had all those folks attending that buff, because there was some great discussion and we were able to get some more information, and that was great. So from that discussion and from some research that we did before, we ended up with a gap analysis between the three main tools. And now I think it's time, this is just an example, I think it's time to go for just a minute to the Confluence page. I will share all this information later, so do not worry. And 2 minutes, I want to start the discussion with all of you. So this is the Confluence page. Here you have the buff, which was recorded. there is some information about why we were doing all of this and so on. You have here the video. We were aiming to do one in September, October, but then we decided that because we had a Spanish local conference 2 days ago, we were busy with other stuff. We decided that it was a good opportunity to, instead of doing a community birds of a feather thing, to try to do it here in the virtual conference. So at the end, we didn't do the September, October. So here we wanted to list institutions that were using Gradebook 2. So if your institution is Gradebook 2, then you should, put it in that list because it's a bit updated. Then we also wanted to somehow find institutions that were considering migration, going from Gradebook 2 to Gradebook NG, because we want to do some synergies from this call. And now we have a lot of, and I'm glad that Jeff was able to make it because he's also on the farm working project, working group. This, let's say that there are 5 institutions that are using Gradebook 2 and want to move to Gradebook NG. That's a great project for farm. For those of you that don't know farm, there will be a presentation later on this day. So here we have a chart that one of my colleagues started, and it was completed after that buff. It's basically, we somehow added the most important items for us, and we say yes or no depending on how those gradebooks are doing. And then there is an important thing here. There is a gap analysis between Gradebook 2 and Gradebook 1, not Gradebook NG, which I encourage you to take a look. And then there is also an important thing. In order to make decisions on, how to, let's say there is a farm project, let's say that a working group is created, how that working group will be able to make decisions. Well, one is to get information from you guys, and we'll be doing that in 1 minute. And the other is to actually check your database and ask your database, what usage is your university doing of those tools. So here we have some queries that Chris from Texas created, and he had some information here. I encourage you to take a look later. Some graphics about how his university is using Gradebook. And there's some interesting information here in terms of what type of configuration do people actually do in their Gradebooks. For example, if they use point, percentage, letter grades. Let's say, for example, for Spain, letter grades are not important at all. So we can say here that somehow for Texas State University is not as important as we might think, right? So that's one thing that we could take out from these queries. That this should be, somehow done by all different universities and put this all together and then start making decisions. So the queries are there, and you could run them in your system as your database guide to do it for you. And we'll be so happy if you share that information with for the benefit of the overall community. So I think I'm done. Now I think we can start somehow a discussion. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of talented people in this list of attendees. So I will be happy to let people say whatever they want. They go. Also, this is a good opportunity for us to to get some feedback from the community and see if if we're going in the right direction or not. If we should try to do this or this. Yeah, I'm done. I want discussion. So,
Thank you, Mariano. And yes, we will open it up for questions and just conversation now. Jeff, I don't know if you want to chime in with anything to add, or any other folks on the call. You can either use the chat or come on the mic.
Jeff, if you have problems, you can do the chat and we will read it for you. So how is the situation in your institutions? I mean, is everyone using gradebook, regular gradebook? Is anyone using gradebook 2? Is people considering moving to gradebook NG? Will you stay in 11 with gradebook 1, which will be available in Sakai 11?
Well, I'll just chime in, Mariano, and say at the University of Virginia, we're currently using the Gradebook 1. And we've customized it quite a bit, and we'll want to, of course, we want to move to Gradebook NG that comes with the release, but we've still got to look at and see how we're going to be able to do our calculations in that tool.
Okay. So thinking about going to Gradebook NG, but I still need to do some testing. I don't know if people have been able to test Gradebook NG. We were able to do not as much as we wanted, as we, as it requires, but because our change is big. It might not be that big for the people that are using Gradebook 1, but for the people that are using Gradebook 2, it will be a big change. Yeah.
So Mayuko says that she couldn't see the screen well, but did you show us a comparison chart between the 3 grade books? And could you return to, I think you did have a slide and also on the Confluence page. Could you show that again?
That's absolutely. So here it is. Can you see now, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So for example, weighted items. So Gradebook 1 doesn't have weighted items. Gradebook 2 does. Gradebook NG doesn't have weighted items. So for us, that's a problem because we have some instructors that use that functionality. And that will be a big problem, telling them now that they should change how they've been working for 5 years. So let's see another thing. For example, able to include an item in the final grade if such item is not visible to students. Well, you're able to do that in Gradebook 2, but not able to do it in both. If you look at the chart, most of the things from Gradebook 1 are the same in Gradebook 2, but in Gradebook NG, sorry. But the people from Gradebook NG has been doing a great job. So some of the things have been, they're better now.
Added, yeah. Vince is asking or commenting that our biggest issue and the one which I'm getting the most pressure from faculty is the lack of statistical analysis tools, especially on exams. I see that this is an issue of the grade book and also the exam tool, which happens to be Samigo. He sees it as an issue of the grade book.
Okay, I'll do one thing. I'm gonna share.
And Vince, can you chat what school you're with? Just out of curiosity.
Sorry?
I was just if he could in the chat mention what school he's with. He's at Texas Tech. Okay, thank you.
Okay, what I just did is I shared my PowerPoint presentation, and I encourage you to jump in the presentation. I'm not sure if we can all edit over there. Maybe it's better if I just do a Google Doc. Let me see. Okay, I'll do a quick Google Doc in 1 sec.
And we have about 8 minutes.
8 minutes, yeah.
We should be, yeah. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to share Sean Platt's comment that Roger Williams University is using Gradebook 2 and weighted items is going to be a bit for them when migrating to Gradebook NG. So that sounds like a pretty important element to try to include.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll also say another one that is really important for us, and it's not solved with any of them, and is the ability to have multiple, how you say this? Okay, so here is the document. I'll paste it here. I encourage all of you to log in there and maybe type your name and your institution. That will help, for future collaboration if it's needed. You already know who we are, but it's also good for us to know who you are and where you come from. So for us, one really important thing that we've been asked hundreds of times is if they are able to do multiple, like for example, to have a grading configuration for the first semester, and maybe for those that failed the first semester, they had to retake the course on the second semester, and the instructor, because they don't have any more classes, he just wants them to go to a final exam, for example. So he will want to be able to create a different structure within the same site, but just for those people that have failed and they don't have any, how you say, like practical lessons to attend or things like that. So the ability to have different structures within a gradebook, which will be the same that could be solved if you could have multiple instances of gradebook within a site, right?
Mm. And
that's one thing that we've been asked hundreds of times, because the way we work in Spain, or the way they work, is that a student, he registered for a course in September, and he has to pass the course, let's say, on February. That's like the final date. And if he fails, he can take the exam or whatever the instructor considers again in June and then again in September. So he had 3 opportunities within one academic course. So we get that request a lot. And I think I'm done again. So it's your time to talk. I will put again here, at least on the screen, I will share the list in case someone wants to check, one of them in particular. And maybe there are some other functionality that should be added to the list. We just added the ones that we thought that were, obvious to us.
So can you remind us again what the Google Doc that you shared with us to all contribute to? What are you looking for? I've added a things. I'm not sure if that's what you had in mind.
No, it's exactly what I was asking for. I was asking for somehow say that, okay, this is important for Texas State University, or this is important for not just talking about a migration from gradebook to gradebook NG. I'm talking about in general, functionality that is missing maybe in all 3 tools, like maybe even something that is for the future. So maybe we need to start thinking about adding some new functionality, and so that was the discussion. Yeah.
Great. And so some other comments I want to say out loud for the recording that have come in. Several people have chimed in that the weighted categories is very important at their end. So that sounds like a very important thing to be at the top of the list. And Jeff Posh has commented that true group awareness would be great as well. And yeah, I agree with that.
Group awareness is killing us. I mean, absolutely.
How so?
Because all our courses, because the way our institution works, you might have maybe that's a design failure from our side, but because we started like that, we haven't been able to do it in another way. So we do it this way. We create, for each course, we create a site, and then within that site, it might have multiple sections. A section might be 50 students with 1 instructor. Section 2 might be different 50 students, maybe with that same instructor. It's just that they are organized in 2 different. So this instructor might be able to actually work with the same gradebook instructor for both of those sections. But then you might have a second instructor who has the third section, who is in the same, is the same course, but he just happened to teach different 50 students, and he might want to do the grading differently, because this is university, and he believes that he just needs to do a final exam. But maybe the other one, they're teaching both the same, and they're in the same site, and they can do that in other tools, like, for example, assignments or Samigo, things like that. So actually, Sakai allows them to work separately within those sections, but Gradebook doesn't, and that's crazy. I mean, there are several emails from me on the dev list and from my colleague Raul, just asking for other people that had the same problem. How can you solve this? Just create different sites, right? So, but what happened with that teacher that had the two first sections? Then he will have to be in two different sites for teaching the same thing. So we don't know how to solve that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a conundrum. Let me before we run out of time, because we have under a minute here, a couple of other comments. Not sure why the weighted items was removed in G. And Jeff has chimed in that weighted categories are in NG, but just not the weighted items.
Yeah. Actually, you have categories, but you cannot weight those items. They all weight the same.
Yeah. So by my clock, we are just out of time, and I know we have such a short amount of time to start a conversation, and not really enough time to get into a good rhythm here. But
can I use just one more minute? And we conclude? Okay, so my proposal is that this needs 1 hour and a half discussion to get everyone, actually be able to check the things. We knew that half an hour was not enough. And I'm really sorry because I actually came, with those 5 minutes, but I had some personal problems. So, so my proposal is that we organize a birds of a feather discussion within the community in about, let's say, 1 month. So we're in November, so early December, we organize a birds of a feather discussion. People will be, more into Gradebook NG that are right now, because I know that people are actually starting to test Gradebook NG in the experimental servers. Farm will be a bit farther, and we might be able to actually, get something within the whole community. We also have some time to get Escriba that is somehow reorganizing itself to actually somehow contact its clients and see, which ones will want to move to Gradebook NG and things like that. That could be an option. So we somehow have 1 month to, and I encourage all of you to write on that Confluence page and do your queries and contact people that that are using Gradebook 2 and ask them to do their queries, or actually try to do those queries within Gradebook 1 and see what the results are. Probably the queries won't work, but adjust those queries for your needs. So I'm done. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you so much, Mariano, and everyone else who's attending. I pasted the Confluence page URL into chat again, and we need to go ahead and adjourn, but thanks everyone, and continue enjoying the conference.
Yeah, thank you everyone for attending. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mariano.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And thanks for moderating.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.